All right, Barry.
Nice one.
You all right?
Yeah, good. Lovely, mate. This is a proper day out.
Let's have a little come in here. So you take up most of your time now, Barry?
Well, since the youngsters started making a living for himself, you know, it's my life's got a lot easier. Not having to go out and put bread on the table every day for the wife and babies. So yeah, this is my most relaxing time where I have all my good ideas, or some of them. Yeah, it's good. I enjoy fishing.
There's kind of like a perception that as much as Eddie's involved, when it comes to certain things, you kind of step in and certain people only deal with you. Is that true?
No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, I have a business rule that you never appoint someone and then do the job yourself, because there's no point in doing the appointment. And fortunately, because of the relationship we have, is we talk about business, snooker, darts, temping, bowling, boxing all the time. And obviously, with the boxing being so vibrant, the majority of the conversation's about boxing, and I have opinions. But Eddie's not slow to put me in my place and remind me who's running the business. So I hope I can add something in experience, but certainly he's the man that makes the calls, and that's how I would want it.
But does certain decisions not come down to you? And if you disagree on something, do you not get the final say with stuff?
No. On boxing, he gets the final say, 100%. Even if I disagree, I bite my tongue. I found it very difficult for the first 6 months when I sort of handed over, because I was years of being the man that made the decisions, and I've got progressively better at realising that he's actually a better operator than I was. And once you accept that, you give him the rope. I mean, I don't think anyone, only a blind person, could not understand what's happened to boxing in this country in the last few years. Not all of it's down to Eddie, but the other 5% have come from other people. You know, he's been spectacular in spreading boxing and creating opportunities and taking it to a level that probably wasn't even in my imagination. I'm very good at controlling businesses, money, investments. That's probably, as you get more experience, that, you know, I know what to do with the money, but he's better at me than making it.
Give me an example of where Eddie may seek your advice on a particular situation.
I mean, the Deontay Wilder one was, you know, and he said, look, you know Shelly Finkel, go and sit down with him. And I wouldn't have gone if Eddie hadn't have said it. And I'm not sure sitting down with him did any good. But we both know each other for a long time. You know, it's there's lots of people in boxing that you can trust, and there's lots of people you can't trust. And I might know the difference between one and the other. And Eddie's finding out some of the things, you know, some of the governing bodies and the relationships there. But over the last 2 years, he's established his own reputation and own ID. So I'm superfluous. But when it's things like, okay, let's sign Deontay Wilder, I will say to him, I'll give you all the money. So Deontay knows that it's all up front. And that's where I can be useful. So I can take away people's financial problems because of the strength of our business, which is, you know, very, very strong.
You, like you said, have got a relationship with Shelly Finkel, better so than Eddie has.
Difficult to have a worse one, I would think, yeah. But Shelly's his own man as well, and Shelly's not, you know, I mean, Shelly wouldn't do me a favour, and I wouldn't do him a favour. So sometimes discussions take place that neither side really wants. I mean, Eddie and Anthony Joshua would fight Deontay Wilder on September 22nd. I, personally, my advice was, let's leave it 2 years. Because then how the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight got built, you know, in commercial terms, Deontay Wilder and AJ today is a $70 million fight, maybe 80. In 2 years' time, it might be $250, $300 million.
But there's a greater risk of, in 2 years' time, one of them fighters getting beat.
That's where your judgment comes in and say, do I see anyone out there to beat either of them? No. Could it happen? Yes. If it happens, okay, that was a bad call. But, you know, life's about making calls. It's not about sitting still, not taking chances. So I think Shelly Finkel wanted to cash in on Deontay Wilder straight away. That's my honest view. He wanted to fight straight away. That's crazy. Business crazy. And Shelly knows better than that, unless he didn't fancy winning the fight and thought we better get some money out of it. That's a possibility. We don't have that concern with AJ.
Have you had any further conversations with Shelly Finkel since?
No, I wouldn't have a conversation unless Eddie told me to, because he's in charge. I'm happy to be there if necessary, and I'm sure post Fury Wilder, if it happens, would be a good time to talk again. But when you plan a business that's got a 10-year lifespan, you don't rush it. You know, I said to AJ, he asked me my honest opinion. I said, if you told me you were going to retire in 6 months' time, I'd tell you to fight Deontay Wilder now. If you tell me you're here for the long run, I say that fight can only get bigger. And also, you don't take chances. You don't go to the other bloke's backyard when you don't need to. The money is insignificant different.
So if it's your personal preference, you would choose for AJ to fight him in 2 years' time from now?
2 years would be the maximum. The most likely thing for me would be fall 2019.
Okay.
I think by then, I mean, Deontay Wilder's done a very good job of making himself famous on the back of all this AJ and Fury and all that. And that's good news for everybody, because no one knows, or no one knew Deontay Wilder in America. More people know him now. And AJ is unknown in America, largely. And in a year's time, more people will know him. And that fight is an automatic one to be built. And then the money is the difference between 300,000 or 400,000 buys on pay-per-view in America and 1.5 million buys. It's a colossal difference. The UK market is already mature, and we do what we do, and there's not a massive upside because AJ is so big. You can't do more than sell out Wembley. You can't do more than 1.25, 1.5 million pay-per-view buys. So where's your upside? The upside is internationally, as more people know Joshua, and we're doing an outstanding job on his international television, and the US pay-per-view. The DAZN operation is also going to be a big plus because the marketing they can bring behind AJ in America will be colossal. So I'm very happy. But look, worst case scenario, if AJ's unbeaten for 10 years and doesn't fight Deontay Wilder, I'll take that.
Obviously the contract situation has become, from a kind of fan point of view, a little bit stale, and it's dragged on a lot.
It's all nonsense anyway. Look, at the end of the day, I don't think they really wanted to fight. You know, the fact is, if you want to fight, I mean, Eddie will say we weren't sure about the money, and we weren't sure about the money, especially when we read that Shelly asked Frank Warren to help him out getting the money, according to Frank. So, but when we send them the contract, they never, even if they disagree with every line, they never came back with one written comment on the contract, which we signed and sent to him. AJ signed with us, and we signed with them. So everyone outside was totally committed. Now, they may not like the terms and conditions, so if they were serious, they would say so in writing, say, well, we don't like this clause, or we don't like that clause, but we like that. You know, that's how these things evolve. They've never responded, so, you know, at the end of the day, whether it's ego or whether it's sensibility, I don't know, but I think it's one that will be revisited, and it will depend on if the Fury fight happens. That's a big fight, and I think that will broaden the base for Deontay Wilder. I don't give Fury a big chance in that fight. I think it's much too early for him. My own personal feeling. No disrespect to either man. I think it's much too early for Tyson Fury. But
fair play to him if he, if the fight.
No, fair play. He's taken a payday. That's okay. That's happened before in boxing. They've offered him some money, and he's short-circuited the career that he had outlined that made sense. He's been out for 2.5 years. I mean, let's be honest. He's a fighting man, so he tells me, but doesn't fight. You don't punch. You don't fight. He will get that courage and confidence back in time. But the last fight, I mean, Pianetta's ranked 146 on BoxRec in the world. I mean, if you're a top heavyweight, those type of people just don't last with you. You can't say you wanted to get the 10 rounds in. That's a nonsense. Every fighter wants to get another fighter out of the ring. But listen, he's made his mind up, and I wish him all the best. And I think from a business decision, it's not a bad call for Tyson, really, from business, not from boxing. He gets beat by Deontay Wilder. He can still fight Joshua later on. he gets beat by Joshua, who may never fight Deontay Wilder. So it's 2 paydays instead of 1, and hats off to him. That's good management.
From this sort of current day, what do you expect the situation if Joshua comes through Povetkin, hopefully on the 22nd of September, for the fight in April? Where does we stand as of today? What the biggest possibility of that fight being? Dylan White?
I know that Eddie has said to Shelly, sorry, let me just stop that.
Right.
Giving Shelly a deadline of mid-September to come back to us, and he hasn't. But that deadline is still there and available to him to answer any questions if he's serious about April 13th in London for Joshua. And until we have a comment from him, we must assume he's not interested. Our business is efficient and profitable, and that's because we run a proper business, which means we plan properly. And sometime in mid-September, Eddie will have the move for his next fight. And there's very few slots, aren't there? You look in the world of heavyweights for AJ. Dylan White must be the favourite, I would have thought. Chisora's not out of the question. Gerald Miller is up there as a big shout, as a US-based fighter. But who knows? You know, I think we have to give Deontay Wilder every opportunity to come back and say, I didn't like your contract, but I like this. And then we can react to that. Until we have something from them, some reply, we can't react to anything. And if he doesn't take it, my view would be Dylan White has earned the right.
But the first kind of port of call for this is to kind of either rule out Deontay Wilder before you kind of...
Well, Deontay Wilder rules himself out by non-communication, in my view. If he doesn't respond to a contract that's been signed to him, giving him $15 million and a date and a venue and whatever else he wants, I'm not saying he should accept it, I'm not saying he should like it, I'm saying he should respond to it. If he doesn't respond, then it's only natural to assume he has no interest. And again, that's his call, it's his life.
A lot to happen, but I mean, first things first, Joshua's got to come through Povetkin.
Povetkin's a tough fight. Joshua's never been it. I don't think he's been at his best with shorter fighters. And whilst Povetkin is getting to the age where you think maybe he's ready to go, the last thing fighters lose is their punch, as he showed against Price and has showed subsequently in other fights. I mean, he's a tough customer, and I think it will be a tough fight. But I'm expecting a very positive AJ. I think after his last 2, he wants to make a statement, and Wembley may be an opportunity for him to make that statement. That he's still got the flair for concussion. He enjoys knocking people out.
Barry, Eddie said that he thinks that if obviously Fury and Wilder will happen, he believes in December, but he doesn't want to wait till kind of the outcome of that fight for what happens with Anthony Joshua, which is fair enough, isn't it?
Of course. I think whenever that fight, if it happens, whenever it happens, it's nothing to do with us. Let them do it whenever they like. I think they'll do it in November. And I think personally they'll do it on November 17th. I know the T-Mobile building's available in Vegas on the 17th. But again, I don't want to interfere with other people's business. We should focus on our own. We have our own plans, we're our own people, we're in charge of our own destiny, and we're doing okay.
Okay. Anything? Any bites?
I'm getting a few little knocks while we're talking. But it's time to bring this one in and have a little look at it, I think.
All right.
There are fish out there. a fishing suit today yet or not? Okay, what about the other side? Because I know Mark Williams gets good fish. And looks good at the start. Okay, I haven't got James's number.
Alright, we'll check back on you later, Barry, and see what.
See what the mystery baits are producing.
Thank you very much.
Easy game.